Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to BipolarLines. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Laura, and if you are new here, welcome. This podcast is for spouses, partners, and loved ones that love someone with bipolar disorder.
Yep, and together we have over 40 years of experience of being a partner to our spouses that both have a bipolar 1 disorder diagnosis with psychotic features.
We know some shit, that's for sure.
We've been through some shit, we know some shit, and here we are.
Today we are going to talk about kind of like the silent sacrifices we do that maybe our partners may or may not be aware of, just, in being in a relationship with them.
Yes, and this, just for the good of the group, this is not us walking on eggshells. We want to make that very clear.
Right.
These are things that we are choosing not to do, that we don't harbor resentment. We're not trying to tiptoe around situations. We are just choosing a different path because we are married to somebody with a bipolar disorder diagnosis. And we have been through this enough to know that if we chose that direct path, we might be the trigger of an episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Laura, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So, we had just did an episode, if you guys have listened to the podcast, on conditioned hypervigilance. So we were talking about different ways that can show up. And then we had another topic idea kind of spawn off of that, which is, what are these things we do to, for example, not try to spur another episode or, things like that. So I think it's a good topic. And I think a lot of people will relate to it.
I totally agree. Totally agree. I will say that one of the first things for me would be I'm not going to initiate a conversation with my husband about big feelings or money when he's already like not having a great day. Or if he looks as though he's already stressed about something, I'm not bringing up those conversations. So even if I really want to know something in that moment and he's not he's not in an episode, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until there's a better time to have that conversation. Even though I'm literally playing, side sleuth internet detective, trying to figure out what the heck's happening, whether it's financially or, because we had an argument or something like that. I'm just not bringing it up.
Yep. Yeah, and that was a big I do the same thing now, but I would say that was really challenging for me because you've heard me talk before that my knee-jerk reaction is to meet someone's energy. And I don't know exactly where I got this. Let's just say my dad has some stuff like we all do. And I just remember I had to really never talk back. He's also a boomer. I'm not blaming my dad for anything. I'm saying that I feel like when I turned 18, I was like, no one is ever going to make me listen to a rant ever again.
Ever again. Mm-hmm.
Ever again. And so I was just and I still carry that with me somewhat to today where I'm like, nope, you're not going to talk to me like that. And if you're going to talk to me like that, I am matching your energy. And so, 20-year-old Laura has learned a lot, especially being married to someone who has bipolar disorder, because, maybe there was some validity to my mom not matching energy at the time and addressing it later, where I viewed her as and my dad does not have, for the record, a diagnosed mental illness at all.
Right,
I'm just saying. Yeah, maybe there was some validity to my mom not addressing that in the moment, and they're still married to this day. They've been married forever. I feel like 40. I think we're almost done. No, we just did 50. And so no, it's crazy.
Congratulations to them.
But I just remember thinking, why is she sitting there and taking that? I'm not gonna sit there and take that. And if Cody is in a bipolar rage, which is a thing, and it can happen without him wanting it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hold back now because it's not worth it, because matching the energy could lead to something bigger, to something bigger, to something bigger, to something I really, really don't want, which would be the worst case scenario, which is mania.
Yep. Yeah. Totally agree with that. And those are, sacrifices in the moment or throughout the week, the day, whatever it is that we have chosen to do. We're accepting that sacrifice because eventually we'll work it out, talk it out, whatever. Or we're like, okay, I need to let that slide. I'm just going to let that go because it's not worth it.
Right.
It's not worth what could happen. I'll give another example of that. So a couple weeks ago, I was telling I think it was on the main or the line holders club that I was telling my husband, like, sometimes we have to tell people no. Like, sometimes we have to say no because we have things we're responsible for, you know?
Mhm.
And maybe that was probably terrible phrasing on my part because that was kind of like a parent child sort of thing. The way that you would tell your kid, like, you have to say no. But anyhow, I did. That's what happened. And that was another trigger for him to then be fully manic. So you're welcome, Jeremiah. Good job, rookie. But anyway, I typically don't say anything to him about those kinds of things because as an ADHDer himself, he ruminates really hard and he also has OCD. And
Yeah.
if it's not perfect, he is full stop ruminating. So like he already beats himself up enough about not being as productive or he doesn't contribute as much to like household stuff. I don't have to say anything. But in that moment, Laura, I was just like, I said it. I said what I said. And I don't, for the record, I don't feel at fault for what had happened. He was already
Yeah.
in a hypomanic state. I just added fuel to the fire, y'all. And I don't typically do that because it doesn't help.
Right.
It doesn't help.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just another example of like in the moment we do take those sacrifices because sometimes you want to say, hey, husband, partner, wife, whoever you are, like that hurts my feelings. That pisses me off.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, you want to say that because you're like, how do you not see that this wouldn't be hurtful?
There have been, I think, there have been so many times that Cody in the morning, or not even in the morning, but just later, will come back and like just apologize. Like just randomly. Like, if I just was like, dude, whatever, I'm just gonna let this go.
Yeah,
Like he'll come back and say it later. And so I think that it's hard for me to convey how I don't want people to walk on eggshells because I think it could be construed that way. Like walking on eggshells really feels like towing a line that you're not in control of. Like regardless, the person's going to be reactive, and it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't, and you're sitting there and your nervous system is crazy on alert. Like this is different. Like my nervous system might be like amped up in the moment because if you yell at me, my nervous system is going to be like fuck you.
sure, sure.
But it's not to the
Period.
point where it's not to the point where I'm like feeling like if I yeah, I don't it's so I don't know, how could you convey how it's not walking on eggshells? There's a difference.
Well, I think the difference is like walking on eggshells when no matter, you feel this way. Like, no matter what I do or don't do, I'm always wrong.
Yeah.
This is an intentional choice. Like, you're choosing not to engage with your person. This is
Yeah,
a choice.
and I know the outcome. I know the outcome will be better than if I engage. So I know that
Hmm.
in this particular scenario, I'm going to choose my battle, which is this isn't the battle to choose. I'm going to let it go.
Hmm.
And then later, that's the other thing is that, if your partner isn't, even if they have bipolar disorder, if they're not owning up to any mistakes or any things that they say, if they're unable to say they're sorry, if they're unable to ever take accountability, you have another situation on your hands because Jeremy and Cody are both willing to do that. So I think that's another reason why I can let some things go because I know that when he has reflection, he will be like, fuck, I'm a
Yeah, I didn't
dumbass.
mean to do that. I'm so sorry. My bipolar was showing. My bad. They will come back. Absolutely. And again, I mean, that goes to show you all that, like, we're not saints. We have issues. We have disagreements. We have arguments, but also like they have their responsibility and accountability and so do we.
Hmm.
It's not a one-way street, right? Like I will say understanding, these silent sacrifices versus walking on eggshells it's a fine line, truly.
Hmm.
Maybe the difference here would be my husband doesn't know when I'm choosing those silent sacrifices. Like
True.
he has no idea. Walking on eggshells, like at some point, you're going to explode and be like, no matter what I do, it's wrong. No matter
Yeah.
what, blah, they're going to
Yeah.
know. And you're likely walking on eggshells because you're being reactive to your person,
Mhm.
whether that's a good, bad, indifferent, silent, you are being reactive to your person because you don't know what to do.
Mhm. Yep, and I've definitely been there. And then
Mhm.
if you
Oh,
do
for
feel
sure.
like you're walking on eggshells, instead of just, sucking it up, which I worry that people will think that's what we're talking about here. It's not a
Mhm.
matter of sucking it up. Like if you feel like you're just sucking it up and sucking it up and sucking it up, like Brooke said, you will explode. And in that case, you're hurting yourself. You're
Mhm.
getting hurt. And
Yep.
so if
Over
you
and
are
over and
getting
over again.
over and over and over again, and then it needs a boundary, then you absolutely have to set a boundary for yourself.
Yes, yes. I read something the other day, and it registered with me on a few levels, and I wasn't really sure. I didn't have the time to, like, dig into it, but I'm gonna read it to you all here. It says, "Stop being okay with things you really are not okay with. Stop associating being a good person with how much you're willing to suffer in silence. You can be a kind person and still say, 'I'm not okay with this.' Being kind is not about being the human equivalent of a doormat."
Love that.
Same.
Yes.
And I took this screenshot on June 7th, and so it was a week ago. Had
Yes.
nothing we didn't know we were gonna talk about this, but how perfect is this? So perfect, and that's the difference, y'all. It's not we're not saying continue suffering in silence at all,
No.
at all.
Yeah, and that's why I worry about sometimes talking about this, and that's why, yeah, I was about to go off at a tangent. I'm not going to do that, but that's why I worry about talking about this sometimes because I don't want people to think that, yeah, it's that what you just said. It's being a doormat is what we're talking about. Absolutely
Yep.
not.
Yes, being kind is not about being the human equivalent of a doormat. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
And stop associating being a good person with how much you're willing to suffer in silence. So, if you're suffering in silence, but you're harboring that, like, I do XYZ for you, you don't know the
Mm-hmm.
half of what
Yeah.
I've been through, you're not making these sacrifices for the good of your marriage, for the good of your relationship, for the good of the person. You are walking on eggshells, expecting your person will notice, appreciate you in ways that they haven't been able to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not sustainable. It's just
That is
not.
absolutely not sustainable. And if you are building resentment, I really encourage you to look at that. I don't know why I learned this early, just maybe because I had older siblings in relationships, but I knew that if I ever built resentment in a relationship, it kills it. It absolutely kills it. If one person is resenting the other, because resentment is slow and it grows and grows and grows, and then it becomes so big that then it's over. So it's like, why even let it get there? If you're feeling resentment, listen to that and,
Mhm.
make changes as necessary.
Yes, yes, yes.
Silent, if you don't mind me diverting, other
No,
silent
please do.
sacrifices that I make. I've talked before how I try not to wake him up because sleep is paramount, especially with Cody, who lives kind of like on the hypomanic side of life. And it's very real right now because he is so, I don't know if there's a medical term for this, but my son has it too. Well, actually, I think Ashton has it too. But I swear to God, when the sun comes up, that first light that hits your window activates that whatever system that wakes you up and they're wide awake. And currently, instead of it being 6:30 or 7 a.m., it's 4:45 a.m. in Denver when I clocked it not last night, but the night before. And just like that, he was up and left the room awake. I was like, so 4:40. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't like the way this is trending.
Boy, we need room darkening curtains
I'm
pronto.
Yes, seriously. He did crash this morning. Like he slept until probably 7. So when he does that, then I'm like big
Yeah,
breath,
breathe.
right? Like
Big
we're gonna
breath.
be okay. But definitely during those times where I know, like now in the spring, when he is not apt to sleeping as long as he usually does, I might sacrifice going pee. I just don't do that. I needed to blow my nose. I was like, nope, I'm not moving out of this bed because I need to make sure that he sleeps. Things like that, like being
Mhm,
super still. Because if I
mhm.
move and I notice that it made him move, I don't want that to happen. And that's not walking on eggshells either. It's just something I'm willing to do. Because here's the other thing is that sometimes he just reaches over to make sure he just reaches over to touch me sometimes. And then I've asked him before, not in a sexual way. And I've asked him before, like, why do you do that? His answer like broke my heart. It was not what I expected. His answer was because when I know you're there, I know that I'm safe and okay. because when I'm not there, he's in jail, he's in a mental hospital, he's manic, sleeping God knows where. So, I
Damn.
understand that. Yeah. So I'm like, well, this is something a sacrifice I'm willing to make for the sake of him feeling safe that I'm here. And also, you need to sleep, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And those, I'm sure those are also fueled by, your potential hypervigilance or feeling like it could get real bad real quick.
Yeah, for
You're kind of, I
sure.
don't want to say scared, but like you are kind of like nervous,
Definitely.
especially if there's been other signs that you've been seeing. You're like, oh, hell no, I will pee the bed before I get up and go pee. Like, forget it. I get that. I totally get that. Last night, Zoe wanted to go on a drive. I was so tired. I was just like, oh my gosh, she won't take no for an answer, which is fine. She's, kids and their music. So she just wanted to drive and listen to music. She's 15, she's learning. And I'm like, fine. But I was battling leaving. I did not want to leave Jeremy here solo. Not because he was showing any sort of manic symptoms, more like I'm waiting for the crash to hit hard.
Mhm. Mm.
And he's, as everybody knows now, and if he's listening to this, he'll know he's getting better at hiding it because I'm talking more about what I see and he knows that. So I'm paying more attention to different things now. I'm not saying what those are intentionally, but my point is like we were texting back and forth. He gave me a one word response. I was like, it's fine. And then my stomach kind of went like, Brooke, are you paying attention? And I was just like, okay, yeah. So I'm not okay with these one word answers. I need you to tell me that you're okay. And he said, I'm okay. So I was like, yeah, that's not helping me either. I need you to contract for safety.
Mm.
And he said, it's not even on my mind. I'm fine. Yeah, that still didn't feel good because we're using the word fine. So there's different levels to him that I'm like, okay. And I just said, okay, I'm sorry. I was like, I just didn't get the warm and fuzzy with these one word answers. And I just need a little bit more reassurance. He said something in response that I was good with. So I knew he was fine at that point.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we do know our people, we do. And the
Yeah.
longer you know them, the easier it becomes. I feel like I get a lot of messages on my TikTok from people that are like, "Hey, I just started dating someone and I've known him for 3 months and like, do you think this could be?" I'm like, I mean, of course it could be. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. And also like I don't know your person's baseline. You don't even know your person's baseline. It's been 3 months.
Yes.
So that's really, really hard when you're in the beginning stages. And I actually was just thinking this the other day. Sorry, let me go on a tangent real quick. There's this
Go for it.
show I was watching, and it is a show about siblings who had a mother with bipolar disorder. The boy ends up demonstrating symptoms of bipolar. His sister, not bipolar. And she was telling him, like, you could have bipolar. And he's like, what are you even talking about? Like, very mad.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Mom had this. It's not like out of the realm of possibility that you could have it." And he was like, "Tell me why." And she starts like naming things that he's been doing that were manic. And, of course, he doesn't believe her and storms off, and the whole family's ripped apart. Even
Mhm.
was trying to
Mhm.
help him. I was just like, "Ooh, I need to watch that." But I
Yeah.
think
Same.
I went off on that tangent because while I was watching it, I was thinking of that sister who at least had she at least had background knowledge with her mother, and I was thinking, like, with me, I had nothing. Like, there was just nothing. It was like, "What is happening right now?"
Mhm. Mhm.
It's just, like, so confusing, which is partly why I try to spread awareness and, do this podcast and do other things because it is so foreign and it is so hard, especially in the beginning. I'm not gonna say it's not hard now. I'm not gonna say that. It's certainly easier.
Yeah. I mean, with knowledge comes power, right? And with
Yeah.
the use of boundaries,
Yes. There's things you do to help
yeah,
yourself.
we don't have to put ourselves through the chaos that was unmedicated, undiagnosed anymore. Like we
Yeah.
have knowledge and we can use that knowledge. So full stop agree for sure. That's interesting. I'll have to figure out what that's called and then definitely watch it.
Yeah.
Another silent sacrifice that I can think of would be trying to fix things in the moment that aren't fixable.
Well, is that a
I'm a
sacrifice or is that a mistake?
both. Two things can be true at the same time, right? If you're a
Can.
fixer, like myself in ways. I want to resolve it. And I just want there to be it to be a wrapped up bow and so I can move on. Right. Like, but there are times where that can't happen because not because he's necessarily in an episode, but because if I push and push and push, I'm going to push him to a point where he definitely doesn't want to be around me. And and that would mean he's not well, right? So I'm not going to try to solve everything in that same moment. Like it's okay to give space. That's something that I've had to learn. I'm not very good at it, frankly, to
Mhm.
be very clear, to call
Mhm.
myself out. I'm also not good at taking criticism from him when he's yelling at me.
Right. I think that would be a normal. I don't think many people are.
But my silent sacrifice to that is I just sit there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
in
could
fact,
be reactive.
yeah.
Go ahead.
You were telling me about something the other day, and I was like, "Well, now it sounds like you're walking on eggshells." And you were like, "No, it's not that." Because like that it what you were describing looked like walking on eggshells, sounded like it, but internally that's not how you were feeling. Internally you were just like, "This is just something I'm doing so that things don't get worse." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm choosing to sit here and listen. Not that I don't hear him or that I'm dismissing it, but I'm not going to be reactive and responsive in return because
Mhm.
no matter how I chose to be in communication, like it's not going to go in a good way.
Mhm.
Everything was already geared towards this is going to go sideways real quick. And I'm not going to just drive the bus
Right.
for him,
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to say that nobody takes criticism well when they're being yelled at, for sure, hands down. I choose to be silent in that moment because it's better for me.
There was this one time, so I got really good. I think we've all talked about we can dissociate pretty well, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I don't
It
think,
just
and
is at this point.
Cody, like I always say, has got to have be on the spectrum. Because I would dissociate, and in my mind, it would look kind of obvious. Like I wouldn't be looking at him. I wouldn't be like I would look probably bored because I frankly wasn't listening to what he was saying.
Mhm.
And I told him that once, but I think I told him it in regard to someone else. And I was like, oh, I didn't know the term dissociate at that time.
Yeah.
But I remember telling him, I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, when they start doing that, I start thinking about like my shopping list or like who I've got lined up for the week coming up,
Mhm.
is my life with the
Mhm.
speech service. And he was like, you do that? I was like, yeah. And then he figured out I did it to him too. You're right.
You're
It
like,
doesn't help anymore. He hates it and will always call
"Oh,
me
they
out
get
on it.
so mad." Yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah, but if you didn't know in this moment that there was meaning behind it, like, you wouldn't be pissed that it was happening because it would just
Mhm.
be. It would just be something that we do, right? But now you know that you're doing it because of me. Now I'm more pissed, which
Yeah.
is not helpful. Yeah, it's a difficult thing to navigate for sure. But I mean, maybe others would be like, if they take care of the groceries and they're having a hard time, okay, let me stop at the store. I hate grocery shopping and I suck at it. Frankly, I'll always bring home the wrong shit that we don't eat or buy. And she's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I thought it was right. I'm wrong. It was not right at all. But anywho, I also will try to match his love language. A lot of people, we've talked about this maybe briefly, but like a lot of people give love in the way they receive love. So that's not always helpful because unless you both have the same love language, like you're not actually giving love in the way your person would receive it, again, unless it's the same love language. Anywho, he loves gifts. He doesn't know how to accept them very well, and he'll tell you that. But so it's like picking up little things, like just little pick me ups. I ordered it from Amazon. Not that this is a sacrifice. This is just a point of like how I'm intentionally incorporating him in my day in order to lighten the load, if that makes
Sure.
sense. What's it called? A something pickle. It was like a little pickle guy. He was the cutest little guy, cutest little booger. It would make him laugh and it was funny. Anywho, my point being, like, those aren't sacrifices, but those are things that like I'm not my natural tendency isn't to give gifts. In fact, I'm quite the opposite. Point being, like some sacrifices are going to take longer, take more time out of your day, or cost you more money, or take away from other things you like to do. But those are things that I know are helpful and that I want to do for him. So maybe this is kind of blurring the line of like, I don't know, a typical relationship. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it blurs the line a little bit because we're talking about silent sacrifices. But what I would say, I think I like that you brought it up, is that Jeremy does things for you as well. So, we'll
Yes.
get people being like, well, I do all this and I do all that and I've tried this and I've tried that and nothing works. And that's where we're talking about you're rocking on eggshells. So what you're saying is like a give and take that you are receiving in the relationship that encourages you to feel like you
Yes.
could get him a small gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
1000%. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
can
this is
definitely
not
see
going in
that.
the direction that I needed it to
Yeah,
go.
but I was tracking because, like, I
Good.
know little things like that for Cody too. He really appreciates. So, and the same for me. Like he does the grocery shopping mostly too. We'd sometimes go together. I rarely do it by myself. That would be a rarity. But yeah, he will specifically, like, he just right before I did this podcast, he went to the grocery store and he was like, I bought this and I bought this and I bought this, and it was all like things that were like for me and the kids, not necessarily for
No.
him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like there is this give and take there. So that's
Yeah.
important to recognize.
Yeah. Because if those don't exist, then you're constantly going to be in a state of, you're getting nothing in return. And
Yeah,
obviously
and then the
that's,
silent sacrifices you're making are absolutely not worth it, guys. It's not
they're
worth
not.
it. Yeah.
They are not worth it because it's
Another
not sustainable.
Another silent sacrifice I feel like I have to make. I was just thinking about this the other day because actually yesterday I saw a family member I haven't seen in a while, and he was telling me he got diagnosed with diabetes, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And he was managing it just fine. He's healthy. He's fine. And it made me think of when Cody got diagnosed with diabetes. I was telling someone I've known for 20 years. She's known my family for 20 years. And when I told her that he had got diagnosed with diabetes, she was like, "Oh my goodness, that's a very, very serious diagnosis." And it is. I'm not downplaying diabetes, you guys, not at all. And I was like, "Yeah, but I mean, we've dealt with bipolar, like we totally have this." And
I could
she
just
looked
see where you were going with that. I was like,
right. And it's like, she
okay.
looked stunned. She's known me for 20 years. That means she's been through every single manic episode Cody has had. And she looked stunned at that statement. I was like, seriously, like dealing with bipolar,
It's
this
a
is
cakewalk.
so, it is. And she like couldn't comprehend. She was just like, well, okay, I just want you to know it's a really serious diagnosis. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So is
Yeah, we know.
bipolar. Do you
Yeah, we got
understand?
it.
Like,
Man.
and so it's explaining that again. It's just, and sometimes I explain it and sometimes I don't. But I feel like a silent sacrifice I have to make is almost like accepting people don't understand my life. And quite frankly, that is a sacrifice. And I think that's why people like this podcast or maybe resonate with our content, because it is a sacrifice for everyone in your fucking life to not understand what you are going through. It sucks.
1000%. 1000% agree. I just posted a TikTok the other day about this very thing, and my brain is on, it's not working today. So it finally registered. I'm sitting here thinking, what are my other silent sacrifices? And this is my brain. Nothing. Just nothing. So anyway, friendships are silent
You
sacrifices.
did post that, and that was such a good one.
I'm not going to put my husband, myself, my kids in an environment with people who don't understand
Mm-hmm.
out loud.
Yep.
Okay. People that don't understand silently, that's one thing. Like we can commingle, right? But if you're out loud choosing to not be educated or be willfully ignorant, like no, it's not going to happen. So I'm sacrificing those friendships because I'm also not going to subject myself to those same questions without him. So if I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to go have
No.
drinks with a friend and this same friend is willfully ignorant out loud in front of family, like, believe me, that same effort, that same energy is going to show up if it's just one-on-one. And I'm not doing it. Like
Yeah.
if have given somebody the opportunity to learn, to educate themselves, I've given them the information, like it's now become their job and they get to choose if they want to work that job or not. Okay. Do I
Yeah.
want to learn? Do I not? I can't force them
Right.
and I'm not going to force them,
Yeah.
but the choice is theirs. And if they choose to not educate themselves, that's their choice. But I also have the choice to disengage.
Yeah, it
It's not
is, and
fun. It's
it's
not what I
not
want to
fun.
do.
Yeah, and it is a
It,
silent sacrifice, for sure.
family functions could be another silent sacrifice. Holidays, how you approach holidays could be another silent sacrifice because as we've seen, how we experience the world loving someone with bipolar disorder looks very different when holidays are involved because they are pretty triggering.
Mhm. Yeah, and the other thing that's happened to me too is that, like, if my friends had been around him, and they have, and he had some sort of, Cody's different than Jeremy, where Jeremy's at least a people pleaser to some extent, it sounds like. Cody's not. He definitely cares about what me and the kids think about him and his dad, but everyone else can go to hell. Like, if you don't get it. And that's not totally true, but I mean, basically, if he's in a mood, he's just going to be in a mood. And so I was finally like, you know what? I'm so sick of defending him. I'm so sick of defending myself. I'm so sick of telling people I'm sorry and that he did. And I'm already tired. And that's just, I'm not doing that on top of it anymore. So it's like we stopped camping with those people, like different friends. We just have, because
Yeah.
it's not worth it to me.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. It would be fun and it would be cool if it could continue, but it's a sacrifice and that it's just not worth it. It's
Yeah,
just not worth it.
exactly. Exactly. And we still have fun. So, I can still go with my family camping, and Cody has a great time. And I have a great time.
Hmm.
And everyone has
Yeah.
a great time. And I don't have to expend any energy afterward with some sort of apology or explanation or anything like that.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. So these silent sacrifices, there's a range, there's a whole range, but it's not at the expense of like yourself and your mental health.
Definitely not. Do not do that to yourself.
Do not do that to yourself. If the boundary or the no longer engaging or the lack of relationship with whoever is at your own expense, you need to pay attention. You need to ask yourself questions, figure out the why behind it. Okay. Because for me, most of the time, they're kind of like no brainers, but that wasn't always the case, to be very fair. The
Hmm.
more that we have become spokespeople from the spouses, caregivers, the easier it becomes because I think I've said this before, but like when you say things out loud, it has less power than it has in your head, right? So the more and more we say things out loud, even just between the two of us right here before anybody else hears it, it becomes easier for us to set those boundaries. It becomes easier for us to say, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Hmm.
It just does. It gets easier. So it wasn't always easy, but now it's a heck of a lot easier. And it's not at my expense.
Exactly. Yeah, and it hasn't been at my expense per se. I mean, I still have all those friends. I never lost a friendship. I just lost a mingling opportunity, I suppose, like a social activity. But I still hang out with them by themselves. It's like we'll just go as
Gotcha.
a girls. Like we'll just do
Hmm.
this together as whatever. But if you were sitting there and you're feeling like I feel like I have completely lost myself in my silent sacrifices, that is not who we're speaking to, and that is
Mm-mm,
not what we're speaking about. So if you
mm-mm,
are sitting there thinking I have lost myself, you have to evaluate what's going on. You have to figure out boundaries. Guys, do something different. Don't sit
hmm.
in that space.
Yeah, for sure. And I've lost friendships for sure. It's, how do I even say that? It's sad, but like the opposite would be worse. Maintaining that friendship would just
Yeah,
make
sure.
life worse.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But yeah, definitely take the time you need to figure out why these silent sacrifices are at your own expense because there's an answer there. And then, dig a little deeper into that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you are a person who also feels seen, I'm so glad. That's why we wanted to do it, because there's definitely a lot going on behind the scenes that I don't think really gets talked about,
Yep.
with
Yep.
caregivers. So, yeah.
Indeed. Well, that is all for this episode. As always, thank you so much for showing up for your person and for showing up for yourself. To our OG listeners and new, if our show speaks to you, please like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is on your favorite podcast platform. You can also join our Facebook group, Bipolar Lines Pod. It is a private group and a safe space option to post anonymously if you'd like. give feedback.
Absolutely. If you want to hear more from us, you can join our Spotify membership. That's what Brooke and I refer to as the Line Holders Club. You might hear us talking about it. We will get more detailed in there. Just, we don't need the whole world knowing all the details. And the main feed will still always be there, and it will still always be free. You can find us on TikTok as well. I'm the BP Spouse, and Brooke is break_the stigma.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.